Blog Talk Radio.
Always look up, never give up, and you will reach your goals. You're important, you're more than enough. And here she is, your host for Rolling with the Diva, Sabrina Williams. Thank you. All right. Welcome to Rolling with the Diva, and it's going to be a great day. Today is 10 Steps to Peace and Joy. We're going to be listening to some great music, and then we'll be right back. Well, we thought we were going to be listening to some great music, but anyway, we're going to start off with here we go. All right, we're back with Rolling with the Diva. Today is a little bit challenging with the computer system when we're trying to play music, but we're not going to lose sleep about that. We're just going to call it a day on that. Okay,
So does your life depend on yours or God's plan for your life? I have found when I am really totally dependent on Sabrina, my life falls apart. However, when I am depend on God, there is peace in my heart. Join the Diva as she discusses the importance of allowing God to be the head of her life, followed by 10 steps to peace and joy. Finally, emerging research is showing that spirituality integrated approaches to treatment are as effective as other treatments. There is, in short, good scientifically based reason to be more sensitive to religion and spirituality in clinical practice. Psychologists are now developing and evaluating a variety of spiritual integrated approaches to treatment, including forgiveness programs to help divorced people come to terms with bitterness and anger, programs to help survivors of sexual abuse deal with spiritual struggles, treatments for women with eating disorder that draw on their spiritual resources, and programs that help drug abusers reconnect to their higher selves. This information was obtained from www.apa.org. It is free information, but I'm also recognizing the website. All right, so today, let's just start with, we always talk about the mind, body, and spirit, but how does your mental health play in regards to your mind and into you having a whole mind, body, and spirit? So your mental health and your spirituality, those two work together. I think they do. I think that if we don't have, and this one article, which one part I don't agree with, is reconnect to their higher self. I think we need to realize that we need to depend on a higher power, which is God or a higher power. Depending on yourself is not going to get you anywhere, because if you were, you wouldn't be in the mental health place that you were, the truth be told. So let's be real about that. God made you to need him, and we are to be connected to God and to a higher power. Without, we're depending on ourselves, and life can seem really frustrating. So let's just take a minute at that and just really ask ourselves some questions. What can we do about that? How can we do it? So here in this article, they're talking about that stressors like natural disasters, illness, loss of loved ones, divorce, and serious mental illness show that religion and spirituality are generally helpful to people in coping. And I can attest to that because I've had depression, I've had anxiety, I've lost my mom. We all have lost someone we love. We all grieve, and I'm not just disputing that. But we also, when we're grieving, we need to rely on God because he's the only one that can get us through it because people will let us down. So how do you cope with that? We're going to talk about that when we come back, because today I want to also talk about, as we go through this, learning coping mechanisms, and I believe one of those can be through music. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Sylvie, host of the Queen Sylvie Show on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Check out the show every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can hear me keep it real about everything while making a difference promoting comedy and other artistic talents from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and around the world. Don't miss the Queen Sylvie Show. Ahala.
On FishbowlRadioNetwork.com. Jump in.
I'm backed by demand. Lord willing, it's all in his plan. I ain't never really had a plan, so I used to thank him in advance. People say that money make the man, but I ain't been the type to take advance. Take the dirt and mold to make the man. So the dirt just made me who I am. Me, just a man with a purpose. I ain't perfect, that's certain. God hands still working. It's just the paint on my surface, and they wanna know what's up under that. I tell them don't worry about none of that. I struggle to come up from under that, while people were reaching to pull you back. Trust me, dawg, I ain't going back. I'm in the hole in the place. Problem keep slowing my pace, but I'ma keep running my race. Yeah, ain't got no time for delays. Man, I gotta make a play. So when you hear, let it play. When you hear, let it play. Hey, that's real, so it's really real. I'ma keep it real. What's a man without God's favor? When you in the field of late with this music, homie, I don't really chill. Catch the vibe with the spirit. Can you feel it in the air? In the air. G praise, G praise. The spirit on me. G praise, G praise. The spirit on me. honest at the least. You don't really care who see when you got the victory. G praise, G praise, G praise. We slay, try to hold it all in, Lord, but we can't. Lift your hands to the sky, give thanks, glory, Lord, my King. Do it all for your name, yeah. Still in the hood, but I know I'ma make it. Still moving forward, I can't take no steps back. Ain't worried about a hater, boy, you know this all facts. Spend it with the Lord and I'ma get it all back. Lord, and I'ma get it all back. Spend it with the Lord and I'ma get it all back. G praise, G praise. The Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. The Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. The Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. Can you feel the Spirit on me? G praise, G praise. I can feel the Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. I can feel the Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. I can feel the Spirit on me. G praise, G praise. And I can feel the Spirit on me. Can you feel the Spirit on me? Are you down to catch the Spirit on me? G praise.
All right, that was MOG. We're back with Rolling with the Diva. So we're going to continue our talk on learning 10 steps to peace and how that can help our lives. So it used to be that if you looked at Sigmund Freud, he was a psychologist back in the 50s and maybe early 60s, 70s, and he always associated mental health spiritually with mental health, spirituality with mental health. Sorry about that. But we now know that that's not true. Many psychologists say that spirituality is a global acknowledged concept. It involves beliefs and obedience to an all-powerful force, usually called God, who controls the universe and destiny of man. This can also include a higher power. It involves the way in which people fulfill what hold to be the purpose of their lives and search for the meaning of life and a sense of coincidences in the universe. Mental health has two dimensions: absence of mental health and the presence of well-adjusted personality that contributes effectively. Sorry, I'm speechless today. Ability to take responsibility for one's own actions. How does that play with mental health and religion? Some people depend on themselves and they struggle and they don't depend on God. Some people totally depend on God and can be religious fanatics, so it needs to be in the middle. Now, many problems may center around existential preoccupations, which can be a good thing. They're psychiatric now and psychology are saying history should be catered to patients' spiritual orientation and religious practice in order to help them to be the most successful with their mental health and in therapy. Partnership with the religious workers are useful in this area. Just so you guys know, praying with the patient is a controversial area. You may find that you have to get a Christian counselor, but this client should be encouraged to do what feels best. Praying can be beneficial for the client. Treatment: if the spiritual is related to a mental health and religious belief, experience, or importance of life for psychic patient, it's only natural they should include those in the religious beliefs. And just like it's part of like including the family and helping the person get better. I just thought that was interesting for the people to understand and to do. I know for me, one of the things that I do, and I've really gotten back into doing, is I acknowledge that God is in my life. He is helping me, and without him, I am nothing, but with him, I'm everything. I'm reminded of Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, and to help you, and to not harm you, and to prosper you. We can't stand alone, and we need to be able to ask God for help. Spirituality can also help people deal with mental distress or mental illness. Spirituality can bring a feeling of being concerned to something bigger than yourself. And remember, I talked about it earlier. When you're just bringing it to yourself, you can't solve your own situations. No, I'm not saying you can't. You can, but it's just tougher. It puts a lot more stress, and that's not how God made us. So you're connected to something bigger than yourself, and it can provide a way of coping in addition to your own mental resilience. If people can make sense of what they're experiencing, okay? So I thought that was really important there. So let's stop and ask, what do you struggle with mental health? Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it are you going through a domestic violence situation where your self-esteem is struggling and you don't know what to do, and you feel helpless? Well, first of all, you have to you're going to have to acknowledge God. Second, you're going to have to get out of that situation. That's where you would call 211 in any of the United States and ask for help to get to a domestic violence shelter with your children, or if you're by yourself. But you don't need to stay in that situation, because it's not worth your life to die in that situation. You're more than enough, you're valuable, and you want it, and you need to understand that. So if you're in an abuse situation, you're in a sexual abuse situation, you're a child in a sexual abuse situation, or you know an adult or a child in that situation, please call and get them help. You can call 911 and report that with Children's Services. If you know a senior that is being physically and mentally abused, those are ways to help people. When people don't feel that they have a way out, that's where they lose hope. But with God, there is hope. The situation may not be solved right then, but it can be solved. So the first thing that we have to do is just going, say, with a person who is depressed. They're given to everybody. They're a parent. It could be a mom or a dad. They're taking care of their family. They're working. They're going to church, but they just don't seem to even though they're going to church, they're not really allowing God to help them. So once they're facing the problem, it's the beginning of acknowledging, hey, I need help. I need God. Let's just even take a step further to a person who's involved in drugs. That there's help outside of oneself. That includes with God, and there's programs to help you, okay? So this also, especially with AA, there's this 12 steps, that the beginning of trust in someone beyond yourselves. And sometimes they can say this could be a therapist and sponsor of the program, but first it always should be you're acknowledging God or your higher power, and then in a therapist sponsor or a program, okay? When growing understanding, denial first, pause, and step one, we have to admit, this is from the 12-step program. You have to admit we're powerless and our lives have become unmanageable. Because when you can do that, then you're acknowledging, I need some help. I'm willing to take help. Not saying anybody's perfect. Okay, there are deeper levels, but we're just covering that. Then you surrender. You're saying, hey, I'm powerless over the situation, but I know that I can get help with it with God. And you're going to have to deal with, okay, so I'm using drugs. Okay, why am I using those? Okay, how I'm going to have to surrender. I'm going to have to get help. I'm going to want spiritual help and mental help. And so you're going to combine those together, okay? The emptiness that you feel is not going to be solved by drugs. It's going to be solved by God and a higher power, okay? Self-awareness, what has been happening up until now. And is that helping you? Is that working for you, really? Is taking drugs helping you deal with your depression? Is drinking alcohol helping you deal with your depression? Is overeating, undereating, being anorexic, bulimia, binging, having sex, are those helping your problem? Nope. I just wanted to pause so you guys could think about that. So basically, there's a couple of things you have to do. This is from psychcentral.com. You have to face the problem. You have to surrender the problem. And you have to have self-awareness. And through that, whether you go through AA, whether you go through counseling, you're going to get support. You're going to bring your family on board or a trusted friend. The problem with ourselves is sometimes we don't want to admit we need help, or we're ashamed. Don't be shamed into thinking that you don't need help. We all do, okay? So we're going to play another song, and we'll be right back. Thank you for listening. Rolling with the Diva, 10 Steps to Peace and Joy. We'll be right back.
Time to realize it's just a trip. It's just a trip. We must understand. If you help me right, I know that's all. If you help me right, I know that's all.
We're back with Rolling with the Diva, 10 Steps to Peace and Joy. We were just talking about some of the articles that were out there about what psychiatrists and psychologists see as problems for spirituality and mental health. The two together have to work as one, in my opinion. So now psychiatrists and psychologists are seeing that if you have a client that believes in spirituality, it is best to incorporate that into their plan for getting better. And it could be a religious, but or their belief in a higher power, but it has to work together. But you know what the most interesting thing? Before a person can want to get help, they have to go through what's called stages of change. And there are 6 stages of change. Let me count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 stages of change. And that means a person has to first, they have to recognize they have a problem. So we're going to talk about pre-contemplation, contemplation, determination, action, maintenance, termination. Then I'm going to add 4 more to that because I talked to you about the 10 steps. I'm going to add 4 more to that, and then I'm going to talk to you about 10 single tips and shortcuts. Okay, so pre-contemplation is individuals in the pre-contemplation stage of change. They're not even thinking about changing their behavior, whether it's drinking, binging, being verbally abusive to others. They might see this as a problem, or they think that others who pointed out problems are exaggerating. Some of the reasons may be in pre-contemplation, says Dr. D. Clement, has referred to them as the 4 R's: reluctant, rebellion, resignation, and rationalization. And this can be found from psychcentral.com. Reluctant pre-contemplation are those who, through lack of knowledge, rebellious or a heavy investment in maybe they're drinking, doing drugs, and sometimes they could be in recreational, but they're doing them heavily. Resigned, they have given about the possibility of change, and rationalizing they have the answers and it's just no big deal. I'm not the problem, you guys are. Then they go to contemplation. Individuals in this stage may be willing to consider the possibility of having a problem, and the possibility offers hope for change. They still may be highly ambivalent, and they may be wavering between pre-contemplation, again, maybe going into denial, but they are willing to talk about it. In the contemplation stage, often with the help of a treatment professional, people make a risk-reward analysis, basically what would be the pitfall, pros and cons of changing. Then there's determination. They're committed to the action. They say, okay, look, I have a problem. Maybe they came to them. They said, okay, you know what? I can't keep doing this. My life is falling apart. Maybe nobody had to tell them. They say it themselves. They're no longer in pre-contemplation. They're past contemplation. Contemplation members that they are actually thinking about that they may have a problem, may want to seek help. And then there's determination where they're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to stop drinking. They recognize the problem. I need to get help. I'm going to go to AA. They're weighing all the pros and cons. Maybe their wife has said to them, or husband, I'm going to leave you. Maybe the child has been told that they're going to be put into a rehab, or maybe it's an older child and they have been told they're going to be out. They're going to look at the risks. They're going to look at the pros and cons, and they are not ambivalent no more. They just want help. This is a prime example to really help them face it, relying on a higher power other than themselves. And I like that stage. Okay. That was, where we go? So we talked about pre-contemplation. They're just not acknowledging you're the problem, don't bring this to me. Or they're just not even thinking about it. Contemplation, they're entertaining it. They're going to look at maybe the risk factors, and they may analyze them. Determination, they're looking at the risk factors. They're willing to get help. They're committed to an action. Okay? And then, hold on a second. I'm sorry, I got lost information. Action is that they're actually taking action. They're going to do what they need to do. They're going to counseling. They're in group therapy. They're with their families. If they're in AA for, say, drug abuse, they are going to the Narcotics Anonymous, not AA, Narcotics Anonymous. They're acknowledging the 12 steps. They're going into a meeting. They have a sponsor, so on. Just so you guys know. I just want to point that out to you guys. Okay. Then there is the maintenance. They are maintaining. They are still going through. They may be going back and forth sometimes where they may get set back and they have to pull forward and come forward again, meaning they may fall back and they may come off the wagon, but that doesn't mean they're not wanting to try. Things like that happen, and they just need to be supported through it, find out what's happening. None of us are perfect. How many of us have started a diet and quit it 15 times? So in this stage, it just needs to be, walk through the whole program. And then the maintenance, like I said, the maintenance is they're continuing. The program hasn't stopped, and there's termination. Whether they start the program and they finish it on their own, and they say, okay, I can do this now. I don't have to go through all of these groups and stuff because I've got the help I need, or they terminate and don't come back. That could be a possibility too. So, but again, you can see those in Psych Central. I just wanted to point those out because sometimes we as people will rack our heads trying to help somebody and they don't want to help. So you just need to understand that there's the 6 stages of change. Okay? Now we're going to go to 10 simple tips and shortcuts to inner peace and joy. And this is from WW Your Life Your Way. I love getting resources from other people because it says that no man is one island. Rolling with the Diva is not one island. And there are many people out there. These articles are not mine. When I acknowledge that they're from a site, please give that site credit if you do share. This is from www.yourlifeyourway.net. Okay, so what's the don't feel crazy. First of all, do not let stress or something going on in your life get you down to the point where you just have an inability to function and you just can't make it. Or maybe it's not that. Maybe you were feeling like you're crazy because everybody's putting you down and you're not feeling good about yourself. So you're going to start opening yourself up with joy because things happen, but you can find peace through God. Okay? All right, moving the computer a little mouse down. So here we go. And these are 10 of them. Shortcuts to the quiet, busy mind. Freeze frame. To do when you're drinking coffee. You take your first sip, pause for a moment, take a deep breath, freeze the frame of a mental camera going on in your mind. Maybe you're just stressing and you've been stressing over work. But we've talked about it before. How about embracing stress? Stress can be our friend. Stress can motivate us to work or maybe not work, but embracing stress can help lower blood pressure and everything. So rewind the situation. What's going on? Is it work? And you're doing this through breathing, okay? Go with the flow. You do this when you're washing your hands. And these are shortcuts to the quiet, busy mind and help your mind relax and think. You're at the sink, you're washing dishes. You're saying, I have flow in what I'm doing. These are mental exercises to help you. I like that. Shortcuts for gentle transitions. Coming home at the end of the day, you're changing jobs. you're moving on from therapy, and you'll be ending and going to another therapy. Like tomorrow, there's a transition that's going to be going on in my therapy where my physical therapist is moving. He's going to be an officer in the military. That's really hard for me because he has been a great guy, Dr. Nick. So you just say, hey, okay, I'm going to just shake it off like water. I'm going to miss this person, acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge what's going on, talk to somebody, but I'm just going to let it go. You're going to shake your body like the dog does and wag all the water off, and you're just going to be okay. And you're going to restore yourself by just practicing a mindful mindset, peace of mind. Okay, so you can be present. You're going to rest in peace. Just like God says, Romans 8:28, all things work together. So when you lay your head down on the pillow at night, you're going to rest and think of 3 things that happened which you're grateful for. And that way you can get your peace back. I'm grateful today that I got to go to therapy. I'm grateful today that my 18-year-old really wants to communicate with me. I'm grateful today for my pets who love me like nobody else does, okay? And you hold this feeling and absorb it into your mind and body, okay? And that would be, that was 4, rest in peace. And then we're going to go to shortcuts to open your heart. This is 5. Stop, drop, and roll. You already heard that. And it's like with a fire. But here we're going to stop. We're going to drop down to your heart. And you're going to roll a little goodwill and open your heart. You're going to say, I'm a good person. You're going to look at the other people around you and appreciate them, appreciate yourself, and recognize each one of them just like you do yourself. They want joy, and they want to be free from suffering. So you can pray for them, pray for yourself. 6, remember this. Do when you're stuck in a line or have unexpected ways. Ask yourself, what do I need to remember? Keep asking yourself this question until you have a sustained answer. Like, I remember what really matters in life. I need to remember how lucky I am to have my health, have my children. I'm lucky to have a job. I'm lucky to have my limbs. I'm lucky to drive. I'm lucky to be able to walk, so on, okay? That's 6. Shortcuts for reactive relationships. Take 5, to do when you find yourself getting angry or frustrated with someone. Breathe through your nose to the count of 5. Feel the air as it comes through your nose and expand into your lungs. Hold your breath to the count of 5 and then blow it out. And we talk about this. It's called mindfulness all the time. Do not allow people to get you to react to life, get to respond. Somebody makes you angry. Yeah, is anger okay? Yeah, it sure is. But it's how you react, okay? You can get angry and say, I'm angry, but I'm not letting this get to me. You can identify things to do, how to deal with that, okay? When you redirect your mind to an awareness of your breath, you create a moment of calm where you can actually find inner peace and bloom. Another one, number 8, cheese call, to do when you're in a crowded, loud environment, when you're being faced with a hostile encounter. Because sometimes we can't just say peace and joy and everything's going to be kumbaya. It's not like that. Breathe in deeply and imagine yourself being a porous fabric and let the fluid world, all sights and sound, pass through and breathe it away. Because sometimes you're in situations you can't change, but you can change your internal being. Again, if you're in a domestic violence situation, I am not saying you stay in a domestic violence situation and breathe through this. You need to get out of the situation, call 911 for help, get to somebody, get to a relative, get to the nearest hospital and get help. If you're suicidal, you're not breathing through this, you're calling 911. You're letting people know and you're getting help, okay? Just, and you watch how your energy washes over you. Again, don't responding. Okay, 9, shortcuts to connect with the spirit. This is where your mental health and spirituality become daily dose to do in the morning just before getting out of bed. I find that when I get out of bed in the morning and I'm reading my Bible and praying and writing my journal, it's the best days I have. If I do it in the afternoon, even, yes, it's still the best day. But in the morning, I'm connecting with God. I'm giving Him my whole day and saying, no matter what happens, I'm walking with you, and I'll be with you every minute of the day, and you'll be with me. As you lie in bed, state an affirmation as a form of mindful intention. Begin with a deep breath. As you breathe out, say, I'm a peaceful day, or I experience inner peace. I'm joyful. I'm happy that God loves me. These are some other ones I'm adding. I am loved. I am wanted. It's okay to not be okay. Stay in the present tense as if it's already happened and let yourself feel the peace and sink down inside you. Think of this as a shortcut, as a morning peace pill. Okay? And then 10, big sky, to do when you get in the car or frequent public transportation. Look to the sky. Contemplate the vastness that God created, that He created the heavens and earth. And read this in Genesis I'm starting in chapter 1, the details in the clouds. And there's several different clouds I learned. I'm a cumulus cloud. I'm like all 3 levels of clouds. You'll have to look that up on your own. Breathe in the sky, breathe in the spacious. Breathe in, be able to say, oh my God, I can breathe, I can look at this. And think about, do you need the time to get away? Later in the day, having lunch by yourself is a vacation you need to plan for. So we need to remind ourselves that there are tiny and vital places to the puzzle of worries being pretty small stuff. And sometimes they're not pretty small stuff, but if you can compartmentalize them, and then you can sort of kind of help yourself. Remember, mental health is real. It's not a joke. It's nothing to play with. And you need to, if you need help, call 211, go to your church, go to a counseling center, but you are important, you're of value. Thank you for listening to Rolling with the Diva. I hope that today's episode helps you. We're going to play another song, and then we'll be exiting the show. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, and enjoy the 3-day holiday. It'll be Martin Luther King's birthday on the 21st. We'll be back on Sunday. Bye-bye.
Jehovah, the God that healeth me. Jehovah, the God that meets my need.